Now, they figure there's a meteorite about 1,500 feet across came whizzing in about 40,000 miles an hour. And look at us, we're in a bowl.
Yes, you are.
A man barely alive. Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology. If you ever wanted to see the view from the top, there it is. Hey folks, we're in beautiful downtown Middlesboro, Kentucky. We've not done a video here in a while, so I thought it was high time we do a video here. But we're going to go in and talk to a very nice gentleman at the Middlesboro Arthur Museum. This is a historic building. He's going to tell us a little bit about this, and he's going to tell us a whole lot about the historical significance of Middlesboro, Kentucky. Y'all want to come in and meet him with us? Let's go. Guys, we are very fortunate to get to talk to Dan Butler with Bell County Tourism here in the historic building, Middlesboro Museum. He's going to tell us a lot more about Middlesboro history than I could ever tell us.
Okay, well, for one thing, you're in one of the first buildings built in town. This wasn't a home. This was actually an office building. The American Association Company, which was the land company that founded Middlesboro, their offices were on this ground floor. The two upper floors were actually offices for two other companies that were closely associated with them. But yeah, wow. This was built as an office building, not a home. And we're talking, Mr. Arthur, when the company came in, American Association Company, it's just people on their farms. No settlement, no village, no railroad, nothing. Well, company came in, bought up 10,000 acres of land laid out to town. They intended Middlesboro to be, they were planning for a city of 100 to 150,000 people, instant metropolis in the wilderness. Well, Mr. Arthur, who was also a far cousin of U.S. President Chester A. Arthur, of course, you know, if you build it, they will come. Well, that was his thing. He was going to build the instant metropolis in the wilderness. In Harrogate, Tennessee, just through the tunnel, Harrogate was going to be the rich suburb of Middlesboro. Now, can you imagine Middlesboro with 10 times the people that it has now? I think last census we were about 10,000.
Wow.
Wow.
Of course, down through the years, I guess, when Cole was bigger, of course, Middlesboro was bigger.
Yeah.
That's true of a lot of towns around here.
For the most part, service industry jobs. Us being in the meteor crater too, that's kind of like our biggest claim to fame, besides the gap and us being in the crater. That's the two biggest things.
Can you tell us a little bit about how they discovered the crater and how big it is?
Well, back in 2003, some geologists saw something to do with the rock formations and layers and whatnot. And he got the State Geological Survey, which runs out of University of Kentucky, interested. Well, a bunch of them came here and stayed several days, and they did core drillings, got rock samples and whatnot. And they did determine that we are in an impact crater. The crater is just under 4 miles across. And the center of impact is actually the golf course area at the country club off 25th Street. That's where they found shocked quartz and shatter cone deposits. That's something that happens to the rocks. They take a big hit. Now, they figure there's a meteorite about 1,500 feet across came whizzing in about 40,000 miles an hour. Well, they say at the time of impact, we would have been down at the bottom of a crater about as deep as the Pinnacle Overlook is tall, about 2,000 feet deep. But in 300 million years, give or take, who's counting, we may have filled in a little bit, but if you're going up to the pinnacle, turn around and look at us, we're in a bowl.
Yes, you are.
Yes, it is. I mean, once you know, you can kind of tell just by turning around and looking at the mountains.
At the far end of the national park, which most people don't realize, Cumberland Gap National Park is like 20 miles long. But back in Daniel Boone's time, the early pioneers, when they got to white rocks, they knew they were one hard day's travel from the Gap. And we can jump in the car and be there in 15, 20 minutes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And of course, Wilderness Road State Park was original Martin's Station, and that was the last stop for the pioneers before they entered the Gap into Wilderness, Kentucky. And you know, one of Boone's sons was actually killed right over in Virginia on one of his trips to the Gap.
Wow.
Didn't know that.
He was killed in an ambush.
Oh.
Wow. Wow. And you was telling us about some of the items you have in here.
Well, now, in the display cases here, for the most part, it's items that pertain to Mr. Arthur and or some of his family members, with two exceptions. The one exception, there's a child sailor suit that actually has a connection to a Middlesboro family, the Hoe family, H-O-E. They were one of the first businesses to come to Middlesboro. I believe they came from Pennsylvania, and they're still in business here. J.R. Hoe and Sons on 19th Street.
Yes.
They're a metal foundry. And of course, they're still in business. And the other exception, there's some golf items that pertain to George Catle, who was a PGA Pro Tour golfer from Middlesboro.
Wow.
Now, my personal favorite Arthur item, there's a child's kilt outfit and a picture of one of his children wearing it, because he was originally from Scotland by way of Canada.
Wow. And if you notice walking around in a lot of towns around here, if you look down at manhole covers, it'll say Hoe, Kentucky on those. So that's from this family.
Now, Arthur is buried here, right?
There's actually, I think, about 24 or 25 cemeteries inside the city limits.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I've got one map with them all on it.
Oh, my.
I've had it ever since I've been here.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. There's
nice.
even over by Fern Lake, there's actually the Rain Cemetery, which is actually the Jewish cemetery. The people that founded what later grew into the Goodies store chain
Yeah.
were here at the founding of Middlesboro. See, the thing of it is, okay, when they came in and founded their town, instant metropolis, okay, fine. All right. They didn't have enough bodies to do the work. They didn't have enough bodies with the skills they needed. Okay, just like they knew where they founded Middlesboro was a low, swampy area that flooded bad. Okay. Don't know who this was, and I've read every local history I get my hands on. Somebody convinced them that if they straightened Yellow Creek out, it would improve the flow and they wouldn't flood as bad or as often. They actually imported a crew of 200 workmen from Europe just to straighten the creek out and line it with oak timbers.
Well,
Of course, the first big rain washed it out.
yeah.
So, you know, I don't know who did that selling job, but daggone, they could talk.
Well, it still floods to this day, don't it?
Well,
Not as bad.
now, about 10 years ago, we got like 9 inches rain in less than 2 days. The water lacked 1 inch coming in under our doors.
Here?
Right out here.
Wow.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. And right up where the four-wheeler dealer is,
Yeah.
up the street here, that used to be Cumberland Ford,
Yeah.
water was this deep on Cumberland Avenue. People were riding boats, canoes, and kayaks up and down Cumberland Avenue.
Wow.
This last one, this few.
Well, they did that. Well, every time it gets deep enough over Cumberland Avenue, somebody gets out there with a kayak or a canoe.
Yeah, we've actually got some video of it high up there on Cumberland Avenue from just like 3 years ago or so, three,
That's
4
not
years
good.
ago.
Yeah. Well, actually, there's been a couple times that they actually had to close 25E and would not let people go because you couldn't get through to get to the tunnel.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And of course, a lot of people think, well, Middlesboro is so much bigger than Pineville. Why is it Middlesboro the county seat? Pineville was the first city in Middlesboro, first settlement. And Pineville wasn't actually its first name. I believe it was originally called Cumberland Ford. And the town, the reason there's a town there now is because the state of Kentucky built a toll station there. They charge you a toll to cross the river at Cumberland Ford and enter the rest of the state.
See, I've never heard that.
And the town grew up
Didn't know that.
around the toll station.
Well,
Wow.
I never
Wow.
knew that.
One of Kentucky's first governors actually owned land in where Pineville is now. Isaac Shelby,
Oh,
I believe he owns some land where Pineville is now.
wow.
And of course, Pineville, that's where Pine Mountain State Park is. The first state park. It wasn't the first lodge, but it was the first state park.
So Pine Mountain State Park was the first state park in Kentucky.
The first one of the system, but it wasn't the first lodge.
Oh, not the first lodge.
The first lodge was at Natural Bridge,
Oh, okay.
up towards Winchester, up in that area.
Yeah.
Okay, the reason it was the first lodge is because timber and railroad interests owned the land where Natural Bridge is. All right, and they had built hotel there. Whenever they turned the land over to the state for a park, they gave them a hotel, instant lodge.
Well,
Wow.
Well, that's why Pine Mountain wasn't the first lodge. Bell County is the only county in Kentucky that has a state park and a national park.
All right. The Pine Mountain and
Cumberland Gap.
Wow. I didn't realize there's so much
I
you just
didn't
don't realize.
realize that.
Right in your face your whole life and you don't realize it.
Mr. Arthur was actually fired by the company. He never paid any dividends to shareholders. And it's not what you think. He didn't have sticky fingers. Okay, he was trying to develop the instant metropolis in the wilderness. Of course, on days of land sales, lots of cash. Well, instead of paying out any dividends to the rich guys in England that founded the company, which founded the town, he kept developing the town. The shareholders got PO'd, and he's out of there.
Now, folks, they got exhibits in here, but Dan tells us where this was a professional building, it was never residence, said they never really figured out what this beautiful room was used for originally.
Well, we don't know how it was used, how it was set up.
And they don't have any inside photographs of this building.
Plenty shown the outside, but none on the inside so far. Somebody's probably got some somewhere and just forgot that they even have them.
Yeah, so hey, guys, if you're from this area, or if you know you had family from, if you got any inside pictures of this building, contact us and we'll hook you up with Dan.
This is Arthur's tea set.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, that pretty.
Wow.
And this is a soup.
Oh, it's preserved so well. It looks really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got their family crest on it right there. That's their. You know you well off if you got a family crest.
Was this his wife's outfit, or
That's one of Nellie's dresses.
it's got like a,
All right.
it's like a foot pin, something.
Oh, here's what he's talking about. He said this was his favorite right there. The
Yeah, that's
kilt.
Yeah, that's something else.
Yeah. And there's another outfit
So
of the young man.
Alexander Arthur was a Scottish, right?
Mm-hmm.
And look at these old.
And apparently he wanted his son to stay in touch with his roots, didn't
This
he?
is tennis rackets.
Yeah, they belonged to a member of the Arthur family.
This is the golfer.
Yeah, George Cadle, who was a PGA
George
Pro
Cadle.
Tour golfer from here. I don't know how those wound up in our museum, but they were here when I came here, so, you know.
Yeah.
So here's an old Middlesboro Liquor and Wine Company distributors, and it's got the names on there from 1939.
1930. Is this Mr. Arthur up here?
Yeah,
or-
that's Mr. Arthur.
Oh, well, we gotta go up here and meet him. And that is the man we've been talking about, right there. And they said the woodwork on this door is the original. They'd had a fire here and had to replace some on some doors, but this is original.
This map shows everybody that owned land where Middlesboro is. See Yellow Creek right here?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, now, look at this map. Look how straight it is. And we're right there.
Wow.
So they straightened it out.
Yep.
And didn't do any good.
That's what
And-
he's telling us about.
Well, most people don't realize, okay, where's 12th Street? Highway 25E.
Okay.
Okay, little town of Arthur, Tennessee. Supposedly, it was going to be a town named for Mr. Arthur, and that's something that they would send potential investors. That was their plans for supposedly the town they were going to grow. Of course, now evidently it's not even a wide spot in the road hardly.
Well,
What do you think you'd have if you had a souvenir of this area you could drink? What would it be?
Considering it's Kentucky, what would it be here though?
Cumberland Gap water.
Yeah, you're number 29. In 20 years, I've had 29 people guess the right answer. Most everybody says bourbon or moonshine.
That's what I was going to guess. Now,
I
I
could
don't know.
make a phone call, and Liam probably could too, and get moonshine delivered, but we're not part of the bourbon trail up around the bluegrass.
Well, you know,
I'm the 29th person. Wow, that's
Yeah, that's the water that runs out of Gap Cave in the National Park. Middlesboro Coke bottles it and sells it. And it's actually very good water. And I like it because the bottle is real. It's not like one of them sacks
Yeah.
with a cap.
Yeah, you get
It runs out of the Gap Cave, right? All
It
right.
runs down the side of the mountain beside the old iron furnace in the little
iron
town of
furnace.
Cumberland Gap.
Okay, that's the water. That's Cumberland Gap water. I didn't know that at all.
Now, have you all been up to the Pinnacle Overlook before?
It's been
Yeah,
years
yeah,
ago.
yeah, quite
Well,
a
of
few
course,
years ago. Yeah.
Well, you may not remember. You know, you passed remains of 2 of the Civil War air forts built in the Gap. There's a lot more than 2, but only 2 close to the road.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
No,
Well, I
there's a
know about
bunch
the
of
one.
bunch of forts on the other. Well, there's some on this side, not close to the road, and then there's several on the other side of the Gap. And what most people, when they come here, we want to go to Tri-State Peak. We want to stand in all 3 states. Well, you have to get out and hike to that point because it's actually on the other side of the Gap from the Pinnacle.
Wow.
And the building does have a cat. Her name is Jolene.
Don't all old buildings have a cat? We want to thank our new friends, Dan Butler and Lynn Hobbs. See, he helped me because I kept on calling him his brother's name, which he actually has a twin brother named Glenn. So, and I was naturally just calling that. Anyway, I thought he's joking. He told me, he said, no, that's my brother. And he actually has a brother named Glenn, who's a twin. So I want to thank these 2 gentlemen for all the fantastic information they gave me. And unless they, get a protection order or something, I'm going to get hold of them again and talk to them again because they're really, really up on the history of Bell County. And we're going to go visit the Bell County Historical Society. All right, see, I got that right. And you publish the
Pineville Sun newspaper.
The Pineville Sun newspaper.
Middlesboro, Kentucky.
All righty. Hey, thank you guys so much. We're going to go and look over this beautiful town. Thank you so much, Dan, for that great information. That's probably the most historical information we've had on any town we've done, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
That was great. And like we learned talking to him, that sign is actually older than the building that burned down in front of it not long ago.
It's Corner Drugstore.
A.T. Smith and Company, Corner Drugstore, Pure Drugs and Sundays. Prescription.
Oils, brushes.
Yeah, oils, brushes. I can't read the rest, but that's a really historic sign. And
sadly, they lost a building here.
So that's pretty old. The building in front of it right here that burned was newer than it was, and it was pretty old.
Yeah.
But it leaves this behind. What's the old saying? It's an ill wind that blows no good.
Yeah.
So it exposed that historic sign, which is pretty neat, isn't it?
There is actually another one down behind this wall. I can't see it.
But when you learn that much about the history of a town, it gives you a new eye for it when you walk through it or drive through it, and a new appreciation for it. Don't you think?
Absolutely.
Oh, and we can't do a video in Middlesboro without doing a shout out to our good buddy Willie Oakley down in Knoxville, because we know he loves Middlesboro.
Yep.
So hey Willie, we're thinking about you.
Pretty wedding dress.
Oh yeah. Yep, there you go. You thinking about getting married again? You have to get rid of me first.
Uh-oh.
Hey, look at there. That is just like a Volvo we used to have like that.
Yes, it is.
It's same color, same model, probably the same year.
Gosh.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna tell you guys, we wasn't rich. We ended up with a Volvo that had 230-some thousand miles on it, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
and we put another 100-something thousand on it.
It probably had that many to go.
Those are a great car. It was over 100,000 we put on it, wouldn't it?
Oh yes.
On top of that, those are really, at least that year,
they're very good cars.
I can't speak for any new car, being good. I hope they are, but electronics, man. But yeah, that is a great car.
They got a lot of little shops put in here. different things.
Of course, what was my favorite car I owned? That's why we was together while I owned it, so you
The
should
Crown
know.
Vic.
That's right, the 94
The boat.
Crown Vic. I got a name. The 94 Ford Crown Vic detective model police interceptor.
Oh, yeah.
The reason it was nice, it was a detective model. The top hadn't been drilled, and there wasn't a lot of equipment and stuff stripped off. It was a gorgeous car, and boy, could that car run.
You need to come here and take stage comedy nights.
Oh, really? Let
You
me
are
see.
a big joke.
Oh, you think I can do some stand-up?
Yeah.
Where at? Oh, right here.
Starting in September, right here.
Oh, right there. Oh, okay.
Raider City
Well, I'll find
Hub
it in a
Event
minute.
Center.
I'll find it. Let me see. Oh, no, there it is, the Comedy Night Live. And
Yeah.
over there it says Crater City Hub Event Comedy Nights.
There
Beginning
you
of
go.
September. You think they'll let me do some stand-up?
Are we going on down? Or
I'm
on
getting
this
dizzy.
way?
We're going in a circle. Yeah, we'll
Okay,
walk
do you
on
wanna
down
go
here.
down?
We got to go down to the Magic City sign because it is the Magic City, isn't it?
Yes.
So Middlesboro was actually planned to be a metropolis, much bigger than this. You had like a town sitting here at least the size of maybe Kingsport or Johnson City or Knoxville.
Yeah.
Look at this,
Get
folks.
this.
I'm looking at it. We're getting that. I had to come over here. It's big.
That is true.
Greetings from Middlesboro. That's beautiful. Mm-hmm. My wife's taking pictures. She's a great photographer. She really is. No video about Middlesboro would be complete without saying something about Middlesboro's most famous son, Harvey Lee Yari, better known to you as Lee Majors. Steve Austin, astronaut, a man barely alive. Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology. We have the capability to make the world's first Bionic Man. Steve Austin will be that man, better than he was before. Better, stronger, faster. Now, if you don't know the words to that signing on by heart, you're not a 70s kid. Now, I did have to refresh myself and listen to it a couple of times, but most of it was committed to my childhood memory and the great memories of that show. He was born in Michigan, but moved to Kentucky at the age of 1 when he was adopted by his aunt and uncle after he lost both his parents in separate accidents. He played football for and graduated from Middlesboro High School in 1957, earned a scholarship to Indiana University. He transferred back to EKU in Richmond, Kentucky in 1959. He played football there until he suffered a career-ending injury. After that, he refocused on acting. He graduated from EKU in 1962 with a degree in history and physical education. After college, he moved to Los Angeles to start his acting career. And as they say, after that, the rest is history. You know, 3 of his most famous roles: Heath Barkley in The Big Valley, The $6 Million Man, Steve Austin in The $6 Million Man, and The Fall Guy, Colt Seavers in The Fall Guy. 3 great TV series, still a lot of fun to watch. And of course, the last role I know of him having is he played Bruce Campbell's dad in the Evil Dead series. It's also interesting to mention that he played the U-2 spy pilot that was captured by the Russians, Francis Gary Pears, who is also a Kentucky native. Lee was married 4 times. Of course, his most famous wife was the beautiful and talented Farrah Fawcett. And he had 4 children, it says here. And Lee is still alive and well as of the making of this video. And folks, this is ground zero for the meteor impact that created the crater Middlesboro is in. The Middlesboro Golf Course. Now, Dan up at the museum tells me that it was a meteor about 1,500 feet across, traveling at around 40,000 miles in air, that shot through the atmosphere and hit right here in this spot, creating a crater nearly 4 miles across that they built the lovely city of Middlesboro in many years later. But this is it. Imagine that day or night, all those years ago, when that meteor impacted. And this is the final resting place of Alexander Allen Arthur, Alexander A. Arthur. We'll call him Triple A, the father of Middlesboro. And boy, it's a beautiful place too. What a view from up here. I'm sure this is family members around him. This is the oldest house in Middlesboro, Kentucky. The sign says it's the second oldest house in Bell County. It was built around 1800, and it still stands here today. It's the other side of the Magic City sign. If you ever wanted to see the view from the top, there it is. From the Magic City, Middlesboro, Kentucky, in Bell County. Thank you, folks, for coming along with us, taking a walk, and also stopping by the museum and learning some very interesting historical information on Middlesboro.
Yes.
We appreciate each and every one of you for running around with us. What do we say at the end of these videos, sweetie? Bye. God bless you, folks.
See y'all in the next one.